Hey guys, how's it going? Michael Troy here. Today we're looking at Marvel Fanfare number 15, the Facsimile Edition by Barry Windsor-Smith, the famous Thing story. This is so good, you guys. Cannot wait to share it with you. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Hit that like button and let's get right into it. I was shocked that they did this. I guess they're doing a lot of Fantastic Four with the hype and the movie coming, so bring it on and bring on the best. I love the Facsimile editions. They're exact replicas of floppies that came out in the back in the day. DC calls them artifact. The usual only differences are the price, of course, the paper quality, which Marvel Fanfare was printed on this slick paper, so this is pretty much the same. And also sometimes they do foil covers and or variant covers. I'm fine with the foil covers, but I don't like the variants. I feel like it's revisionist history. I hate the variants on the Omnibuy as well. I know it feels like a cash grab, and that's kind of what multiple color covers really are, but sometimes they're good and they work for me and I love it. Editorial. Marvel Fanfare was one of the best series ever created. It was a mixture of news stories and inventory stories that were like old fill-in issues that were just sitting around collecting dust. That, finally got finished and published to see the light of day. It would often have portfolios of artists that were young and upcoming and just created so much magic and greatness. And this is arguably one of the best stories by one of the finest creators of comics, Barry Windsor-Smith. Al Milgrom, editor, love Al Milgrom. He always did his little editorial page at the front, fun. So here we come. I mean, look at this art. So a word or two about Barry Windsor-Smith. Barry Windsor-Smith started out very much like in the Marvel House style, and then he did this like sort of Renaissance, Art Nouveau, neoclassical style glow up, and just became the shit of legend ever since. I think it was his Conan Red Sonja story that got the ball rolling, and then after that, he's done work on X-Men, Weapon X famously, Life Death with Storm, what else? Then he would do a lot of stuff with like Valiant and Image and kind of disappear for 30 years while he worked on his magnum opus Monsters that started out as a Hulk story and it's equally the work of his career. It's one of those things like Saving Private Ryan. It is so hard and heavy and beautiful, but I've only been able to read it once. Like, I probably will revisit it at sometimes, but it takes its toll on you for sure. I know that sounds crazy, but it's that good. It's that deep. So we have Johnny Storm fiddling around in the dark. You see him laying his trap for Ben here. So beautifully drawn. These balloons with the reflection in the dark are just amazing. Barry Windsor-Smith worked with inkers sometimes, and usually he inked himself, where, of course, he's always so brilliant. He has this weird history of, like, just sort of, like, doing what he wanted and then taking it to an editor and, like, sort of getting them to publish it. And sometimes that worked in his favor, and sometimes it didn't. Like, Weapon X is a perfect example of it working in his favor. Like, totally unsolicited. Didn't ask Chris Claremont. Claremont wasn't involved. Kind of crazy at the time since he was the godfather of the X-Men. And then he went on to do Hulk, and that was ultimately, like, somebody pilfered some of it, and it was ultimately rejected. And he was like, screw it, I'm going to do it myself, and eventually published it as Monsters. But it's a Hulk story. And then he started Life Death 3 on his own, and that didn't really work out, so it eventually became Adastra in Africa, which is part of his independent bootleggers, freebooters publishing line. Sorry I got off on this tangent, but I thought you'd appreciate a little history lesson there. Anyway, so Thing is waking up April 1st, and he doesn't know, like, he's slowly beginning to, I would imagine Thing is not a morning person, so I think that's hilarious. Wordle. Did Barry Windsor-Smith predict Wordle? Kabloosh. Okay, so I say it all the time, but I have to say it. People decry the tropes of comics like thought balloons, narration, sound effects. I cannot believe some jackass actually said sound effects should be taken out of comics. When you see the amazing onomatopoeia happening here and the beautiful design of these letters, like, screw that notion, right? It's so funny, like, that he just gets up in the morning, takes a dump in a shower like a normal person. And what a revolt and development. I got whiskers, I got stubble. Is kind of hilarious, but they're actually orange painted straws that Johnny glued onto his face. And to be a fly on the wall for that calamity, right? So then he's like, I ain't falling for it. I ain't mad at you, blah, blah, blah. I'm just gonna kill ya. Anyway, I'm getting mad at you. I love it. This is classic Johnny and Ben rivalry at its best. He experiences these skates on the staircase and is like, is that the best you're gonna do? Then he thinks he's stealing his breakfast. And this is so stupid, really. But I love how over the top and ridiculous it is. And, you know, he thought it out, he drew it, it went through editorial, potentially. And he spring loaded the pancakes. Once again, amazing onomatopoeia, great sound effects, hilarious, gorgeous, amazing. This ain't kosher, Sonny. Now the blue-eyed thing is mad. And he's like pissed. He takes off his robe. There's a kick me sign. He gets more and more enraged as it goes on. He sees Johnny flying down the hall and he's like, I'm gonna get you now. So he goes chasing after him, falls over all these toys. There is such greatness here and such reverence for Kirby. Like, you can see the Kirby tech in the background. This feels very Kirby in a way. A little John Byrne-ish, maybe. Like, that definitely has some rendering that is giving me John Byrne's thing. Do not take that out of context, right? Beautiful panel. Love the look on Thing's face here. Gosh, this totally, and this is the other joy of these facsimiles, is like, I remember the day I got this and sitting in the car on the way home and reading this and dying and just like loving it so much. Low-key thinking that was Dr. Doom right away, and it's just, you know, a paper, and it's just so much fun. And Johnny just, you know, loves to torture the Thing and just went full throttle here. And I love every panel of this comic. Herbie from the cartoon, that thrilled me to no end. And then he finally is flung into this pit of balloons. We get the little Easter egg of the Cerebrus head and Miss Piggy here, which is so much fun. I love all the cameras. Johnny is so proud of himself. April Fool. And then Thing is like, no, you blamed idiot. And he does the 30 days has September thing that we all know and love, that we probably all still do to this day, to figure out that it's actually March 31st and tomorrow is April Fool's Day. And so really, as much humiliation and horror and trials and tribulations as Thing went to, I feel like he's the ultimate winner of this situation. Or is he? Because in this, don't get mad, get scorched earth. He's gonna put the entire 5 floors above him water system filtration into Johnny's bedroom, so that when Johnny so much as farts in the middle of the night, he's gonna get drowned with water. I think that's fair trade. I mean, that won't kill him or, you know, anyone below him or anything like that. So then he's like feeling very satisfied with his ultimate revenge being put into motion, and he's gonna go enjoy a cigar, and as we see here, it's gonna explode. And I love it. This is so much fun. This is how you do like a standalone story. This could take place at any given time in Fantastic Four history. It's classic, it's relevant. Produced by Barry Windsor-Smith, lettered by Jim Novak, Alan Milgram editor. I love he's Alan. When you're working with Barry Windsor-Smith, you're Alan, by the way. This killed me. I almost died. I always look at the letters pages because you never know who's going to be in it. And get out of the ether of my universe, Barry Dutter, fan letter, and Marvel Fanfare, and it happens to be the famous Thing issue. Barry would go on to co-write Nightcat and create the Spider-Man 2099 version of Peter Porker, and just be a fun, like, great comic enthusiast and editor at Marvel for a certain period of time. So it is so much fun. And he is so critical of the book and like the format and tells him exactly what he thinks he should do. And I kind of love it in a way because I'm like, I guess that maybe got you your job. I don't know. Anyway, there's this Daredevil story, and like I discussed in the beginning of the episode, you know, it was a mix of like news stories and inventory stories. And as beautifully drawn as this is, it really smacks of such an inventory story. Roger Mackenzie plot and script, Jack Sparling pencils, Aiken and Garvey, famous Aiken and Garvey inks, um, who bring a lot to the table, almost heavy-handed. Jim Novak lettering, Glynis Wynn coloring, Alan Milgram editoring. Okay, so I guess he's the editoring. Did I make that up? I don't think so. Anyway, young Matt Murdock stops this girl from running back into a burning building to save her mother, and her mother perishes. And she winds up at this orphanage, and then she burns down the orphanage so that she can escape, and they think she perished there. And then she would grow up to become an arsonist. And luckily, her name's Crimson Ash because it's comic books and that's convenient. And you kind of, you know, self-fulfilling prophecies. I saw this video recently how your parents unknowingly create sort of a contract for your life when they name you and set you on your destiny. And I have to say, I believe that. I was named after Michael Corleone, Al Pacino's character in The Godfather. And take with that what you will. I don't know. Anyway, I love the art here. It is absolutely beautiful. This is a fun Daredevil story. Totally enjoyable read. I was like, what in the human centipede wonkiness is going on here? She like jumps at him. She flips in the air. He basically holds her behind him in midair to show off her shapely buttocks. She's resting on his back. It's so weird as they watch this burning building, but I don't know, it took me right out. Love the radar effect of Daredevil. Love Daredevil anyway. Like, he's such a great classic character that has had so many great incarnations and runs that I just have always been a fan. So that was a great, fun fill-in story. A little ad for the Futurians graphic novel from Dave Cockrum. I have some Futurians in the future. Haha, no pun intended. Shooter's page perfectly illustrates what a dick Jim Shooter is. I love him, and he is my Marvel editor, but he even says, like, he's blunt and to the point, and that's sort of his thing, so we'll let him have it. Beautiful illustration of Daredevil here on the back. I'm assuming it's by the same creative team that drew the story inside. So how fun is that? If you didn't experience the first time, I hope you all pick this up and think it is as beautiful, fun, and magical as I am. It's such a classic. Keep the facsimiles coming. Thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Hit that like button, and I'll bring you more soon.